Hey guys, what's growing? It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. Today I'm focusing on transplanting and getting a hive ready for a new set of bees. So it's hot now. We've gone from super below normal temperatures to actually a heat wave above average temperatures by up to 20 degrees above average. It's just been crazy. So we are going to get into the 90s Fahrenheit today and tomorrow. So I need to make sure everything out here at the farm is deeply watered so that it can handle that heat, since it's been such a dramatic temperature change. I have to harvest a ton of stuff in the greenhouse. It's all ranunculus, but I have to harvest all that stuff. Then I need to try to transplant all of these cosmos that are blooming in the pots into this bed over here that's all rigged up with irrigation now. And finally, I've got to get the hive, the beehives, into the truck so I can take them home. I've got to get one prepared today, one deep box prepared to bring to my bee mentor, because he's going to install a new nuke into the box, and I'll go over all of that, all the parts and how that works when we get to that part. So for right now, I'm going to go harvest. You guys have seen that a million times, so I'm going to do that really quick. I'm going to water real quick, and then we'll get to transplanting, and I'll show you what I'm putting in the ground, what the varieties are, etc., if I still have the tags. Whew, it's just now 10 o'clock and it's already really hot. Okay, so we're over here in the west bed next to the greenhouse. I keep hoeing in here to get up weeds, and they keep immediately popping back up. So I'm gonna do a real quick round with the hoe again, and then I'm gonna plant these cosmos. So I have a whole variety here. I have Rubenza, Sensation Mix, Cupcakes White, and Double Click Rose, and Double Click Snow Puff. So a big variety. I'm going to put them in this bed, you know, kind of space them out, because there's going to be other stuff going in this bed as well. But, you know, I don't usually, like last year I grew cosmos up on the upper bed here, not for cuts, because I find that they don't last very long. But they're great for drawing in pollinators, and you know, sometimes I use them. They're also kind of a pain to harvest, because they're kind of like bachelor buttons are also a pain to harvest. They get all kind of twisted together, and it's kind of hard to tease them apart and get a good long stem. But I continue to plant them every year, so I'm going to go on and put these in. I put in cosmos at home as well into the garden for additional, you know, pollinator benefit, and also for looking pretty. So I'm going to go on and get these guys in. But first, like I said, I'm going to hoe again. All right, y'all, it is many hours later. I had bouquets, custom orders to make and deliver, but now we are home. It's late in the afternoon, and I want to show you the parts of the hive box that I'm putting together to go to my bee mentor so he can install a new nuke. Nuke is spelled N-U-C. Kind of stands for nucleus. Basically, a nuke is a small colony of bees. So it has a queen, the worker bees, and some drones. And usually they're formed by splitting off of a large hive, or even from catching a swarm. Bees swarm in order to control their populations, and so if they get there to be too many bees in a hive, the queen will take half of the workers and leave and go find a new place. In the meantime, before they leave, the workers have created queen cells, and one of those cells will hatch. Whatever one hatches first will be the new queen. She will then go and kill the other queen cells, and then she will stay in the hive, and after she goes on her her maiden voyage for fertilization with drones, she'll come back and she'll spend her entire life in the hive laying eggs. So I'm gonna get a nuke. So again, small colony of bees, but what they need, so I have, there are 8 frame boxes and 10 frame boxes. My old hives were 8 frames, which is smaller than 10 frames, so there's less room for them to expand. And so I now have 10 frame boxes that I'm going to use. So the nuke is on 5 frames already. So what's going to happen is I'm going to put 5 frames into a 10 frame box and bring it over to Jamie, and he's going to install the 5 frames of the nuke in the middle. And so there'll be outside frames that I've put in there that they can expand into, and then it'll give them a little bit of time in there. The queen will start laying brood, and the workers will start, building additional comb. Now, the benefit of using an old hive, and I'll show you here in a minute, is that the comb on these frames is already built out. So that means that the workers don't have to use as much energy building comb. They can focus on feeding brood. So what do I mean by building comb? First, let me show you the parts of the hive. So this right here is the bottom board. This is the entrance to the hive right here. So the box sits on top and the bees come and go through here. There is an entrance reducer. There's an entrance reducer right here. So this is a wider opening, or you can make the entrance even smaller and just have this little bit of opening here. So if it's a small opening, then it helps the bees basically keep intruders from getting in. You have guard bees that will be here and out here, and they will keep intruders from getting in, but it's a smaller space for them to have to defend. However, in the summertime, when it gets really hot, it's kind of nice to have a bigger entrance because it helps with air circulation. Okay, so this is the bottom board. It's a screen. You can leave it open just like this, or you can put this whiteboard in underneath the screen. And one of the benefits, so this is good like in the winter time to help keep the hive warm, because it's like seals off a major source of airflow. The other nice thing about the whiteboard is, though, if your hive has varroa mites, the red mites will drop down onto this board and you'll see them there. It's because it's a white board. So that's kind of nice too. However, when it's really hot, it's kind of nicer for the bees to just have the screen so that they can get more airflow. Okay, so that's the bottom board. Then we have our hive box. So this is the hive box, and I'm just realizing that it's too big for the bottom board, but it'll have to do for now, because this bottom board is for an 8-frame hive. So this is basically just an empty box. This is where the frames go in. You have handles on both sides, all 4 sides. When it's full of frames and honey and bees and brood, it's very heavy. So here's your box, and then you start putting in your frames. This is a Langstroth hive. There are different kinds of hives out there. This is not a top bar hive, it's a Langstroth hive. So you see here, there's an edge on both sides here. This is where the frames go. So here's a frame. They have these hooks on the end here that rest just like that. So let's look at some frames. So when you get a kit, a Hive kit, you'll get a deep box and 10 frames, which you can build yourself or you can have built for you. These I built myself. It's pretty easy. They're all tongue and groove and you just nail them in. Anyway, they come with, or you can get them with, this plastic foundation. It's got a slight coating of beeswax on it, and I don't know if you can see, but it has a honeycomb shape on there. That's where they build their comb, and I'll show you here the beginnings of that. So this is comb that was being built just at the beginning. And then this is a frame that has comb that was completely built out. So there's a little bit of beeswax here on the end, but the rest of this is super dense. That's all beeswax. So what I'm gonna do, what you see here is also wax. I'm gonna scrape all that off so that these can go together easily, and you can save that kind of beeswax for making candles, etc. Smells really good, smells like honey. I wanna show you, this one is really cool. So this frame did not have foundation in it, plastic foundation, and this the bees built themselves. So they will build comb anywhere, but if you give them that foundation, it kind of gives them something to start with. The only thing about the foundation is that the size of these cells is for worker bee cells. Now, drone cells are bigger. Drones are important because drones are the ones that mate with the queen, not within the hive, out at a specified location, because they want to keep the genetic diversity going, right? So that the queen does not mate with the drones from her hive. So drones need bigger cells because they're bigger bees. Drones also do not have stingers, by the way. So a lot of times what will happen is the bees will have to build drone cells in order to grow those drones, again, using more resources. One way that you can help bees out, if you have a hive and you're doing this, is that you can only use the top like 3/4, make that foundation and leave the bottom empty, open space. What that does is it gives the bees a way to build comb from the bottom of that foundation in any size they want. So they can build drone comb. They can also build queen cells, which are completely different looking. I don't have any here to show you, unfortunately. But queen cells is how they're going to make additional queens if they're getting ready to swarm. So you'll know when you start investigating your hive, if you see those, you're getting ready to swarm. And another benefit of doing that is that varroa mites prefer drones 3-to-1 over workers. So if you leave a spot, an open empty spot for the bees to build drone cells, the mites are going to be attracted to that, and you're basically going to have a mite capture area that you can then just remove. So I don't know, just something to keep in mind. I've learned that recently from a beekeeper. I've never done it myself. This is only going to be my 2nd year of beekeeping, and clearly I'm not an expert, as all of my bees died over this past winter. So basically what I'm going to do right now is clean up these frames. I'm going to take off all the burr comb, keep this wax, and I will pick the 5 best drawn comb frames, put them in the box, and then last 2 pieces are the inner cover and the outer lid, and I'll show this to you now. So this is the inner cover. It goes on top of the hive box with the frames. There's another little entrance here, but it's mostly for, the bees don't really use it, it's really for airflow. So that goes on top, and then this is the outer cover. It's really heavy duty. It's got a metal top on it. This keeps things out. It keeps water out, it keeps ice and snow out, and animals. And what it also does is help keep the hive at a very specific temperature, which the bees can control as well. So those are the parts of the hive. The box that I have here that I've been using is a wax dipped hive. It's dipped in beeswax. So it is, I need to clean it up, sand it down and paint it because it actually needs another dip of wax, but can't do that right now. So instead, I'm gonna get it cleaned up just so that it can make it through the first couple of months. But painted boxes, like this green one here, like this, are really a better way to go because they last longer. This paint will keep this thing secured from the elements longer. All right, I'm just going to scrape off this burr comb, get this thing reassembled, and make sure it's ready to go get a nuke tomorrow. Okie dokie. Here's the hive. We've got the bottom board, the deep box right there. This is a medium box or a super on top. I'm not going to give that tomorrow because we don't need that, but that also has frames in it. They're just shorter. And then we have the inner cover and the top cover. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to Biofuel Oasis, which is not only where I got my chicks, but it's also where I got the 10 frame boxes. I need to get a bottom board, an inner cover, and a top board for the 10 frame boxes because I actually want to start the hive in a 10 frame so they have more space initially. Last year, I started in the 8 frame box, and within the first couple of weeks, they swarmed 3 times because they just ran out of space. And because I wasn't skilled enough to know that I should have been giving them extra boxes. So to avoid the swarm, what I can do is when I investigate and I start seeing them starting to make preparations for swarming, which would be building queen cells, and also seeing all of the frames built out with comb and filled with brood and just, no more space, then you put another box on top with more empty frames so that they can expand into those. And that will, a lot of times, prevent a swarm. Not all the time, but a lot of times. All right, that's gonna be it for me today. I hope you guys learned something. I'm still totally new at beekeeping, but I do a lot of reading and I have a wonderful mentor, so he's been teaching me a lot. If you are already doing beekeeping, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. I will take you on the journey as we get things up and running this time, because I didn't do that last time. We're installing it here at the house. So this weekend, we're gonna go out to the farm. I have a bunch of 10 by 10s out there. We're gonna cut them into 3-foot lengths. And then we're going to set them into cement here. And then we're going to install our 2x4s on the sides of those 4x4s so that we have a platform for our hives and enough space to work around it. So I'll show you that whole process. You can see how we do it. And yeah, that's coming up. So right now I'm going to continue with my work for the day, building bouquets for tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden. and I will see you in the next one.